All right, Ahmad. Last episode, I allowed you to, start us off by running with Trey, because you was on that early. But I need a favor. Would you mind if I start this episode off?
Start it off.
All right. 2 words. Paul George. I remember I posted a video on Instagram talking with Paul George, and he said something along the lines of, work ethic is everything. And man, oh man, I got a lot of DMs. I got a lot of, face-to-face conversations about, playoff feed, pandemic feed, da-da-da-da-da.
Yep.
He's not good. He's this, he's that.
Talk about it.
But man, it's getting quiet now. It's getting a lot of people going ghost, a lot of people going silent, a lot of people switching sides, and I'm confused. As if like y'all thought that Buddy was a bad basketball player. That's what we're doing.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, and I'm happy for him, man. Not just that he's playing well, but he's playing well on the biggest stage without one of the best players in the National Basketball Association. And man, it's you see a lot of people just what was I thinking? Yeah, welcome. We knew what Paul George was capable of, and this isn't even a bandwagon thing. Listen, guys, you know what I'm saying, they have bad stretches in their careers. It happens.
Talk about it.
But come on now. We know what Paul George is capable of. You feel me? And I'm just excited to see where he's at in his career now. Mentally, too. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't talk about that part of the game at all.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of folks talk about who's better, who's a better shooter, who's a better ISO player. But the mental aspect of the game, I mean, ain't too many people, not even just players, but people that could deal with the overall scrutiny and criticism that goes into playing, 1, in Los Angeles, and 2, playing playoff basketball.
Yeah.
But you know what? Playoff fees here.
Yes, sir.
I'm happy for Paul George.
Yes, sir. Talk about it, man.
Work ethic is everything. So that's what I want to say to get this show running, man.
And
one time for Paul George.
One time for Paul George. I got this flower shirt on because I want to give Paul George his flowers for the way he's played this entire postseason. Paul George, to me, is one of the most talented, one of the most smoothest hoopers in the history of the NBA. He has one of the greatest offensive packages I ever witnessed in my eyes. And you don't get on a scoring list with Kobe, Michael Jordan, Kevin Durant if you're not talented, if you're not about being a bucket, and if you don't have a signature shoe deal. And ladies and gentlemen, Paul George has a signature shoe deal for a reason. Paul George is a special player. And everybody is so shocked, but it doesn't surprise me because Paul George has been a number 1 option on a championship caliber team for most of his career. We saw him with the Indiana Pacers, but you know what happened? He ran up against the greatest all-around basketball player in the history of the game, LeBron James. Then he goes to Oklahoma. And yes, they didn't have playoff success with Russell Westbrook, but they just lost to good teams. It's hard to win in the Western Conference, but let me talk about what he did when he was with Russell Westbrook. He was a top 5 player during that 2018 regular season where he averaged 28 points per game, shot 44% for the field, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, finished 3rd in the MVP voting. It's crazy to me. And then what does he do? Kawhi Leonard goes down. Everybody, oh man, Kawhi Leonard's out for the rest of the playoffs. He beats the number 1 seed. He leads the Clippers to beat the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. And regardless of what happens with this series, Paul George is stamped. Paul George has put all those doubters, the internet memes, the slander. He's not this, he's not that. He's quiet the noise. Paul George is here, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm so happy we have this platform where we can appreciate players all the time. We don't get caught, and that's what DeMarcus Cousins kind of talked about, like the internet, social media culture. We have certain platforms that, they praise, but they do more slander. You know what I'm saying? As soon as something happens, it's like, okay, it's a lot of slander, but then, he's really good. Let's praise him a little bit. Here at Slam, we don't do that. It's praise all the time, and that's why I can appreciate what we're doing. I can appreciate this podcast, Theus.
And that's a fact, man. Ain't no switching sides or anything like that. At the end of the day, right, they're players, but they're also people. And you brought up a stat about Paul George, right? But I want to make sure we say it out loud.
Yeah.
20-plus points, right, in each of the first 18 games in the postseason, right? 4 players have done that. One of them, as we know, the current player that's doing it now, is Paul George. But let's list the other 3 basketball players that have done it.
Man. It's crazy.
Michael Jordan. He's done it 3 times. And we know what Michael Jordan brings to the table.
Mm-hmm.
Kobe Bryant. He did it back in 2008. GOAT. Kevin Durant. He did it twice, 2012 and 2018. Those are the 3 best scorers, in my opinion, of all time. And so when we put Paul George on a list like that, again, not comparing him to them, not putting them in the same category, but at the end of the day, when you accomplish something that those 3 guys have accomplished, come on now. Come on. That's historical.
Paul George is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's what I don't understand.
Oh, we know that.
And it's crazy because this is my issue with kind of like the media and people in general. The consistency when it comes to slander is never the same. Paul George got more playoff success than some of the media darlings in the NBA that people love to talk about. And I'm not going to mention no names because that's not what we do here on Slam. But just know that it's some all-time greats and all-time Hall of Famers that don't have the playoff resume that Paul George has. So it's crazy to me how they criticize Paul George like he's MVP or 2-time MVP winner, like he's a top 10 player of all time. But then we have some of these players in this league today. Like I go back to the NBA bubble where the Clippers, they were up 3-1 and they had a mental breakdown, also a basketball breakdown as well. But it was crazy how like the fact that Paul George got the most slander and Kawhi Leonard ain't show up either. And Kawhi Leonard's supposed to be the best player on the team. It's just like the level of consistency, the way the media picks and choose who they want to slander or who they want to give excuses to. That's why I can't really rock with a lot of things that goes on. And that's why I just kind of keep my opinions to myself, because at the same time, it's just like you got to hold these guys to a higher standard because, we're critiquing them off their game and what they do at the highest level against the players that they're playing against at the highest level. But at some point, it has to be some level of consistency. I remember I was hearing people that I actually respect in the media after, I think it was the 2018 season, we're sitting up saying that Pascal Siakam was a better player than Paul George, off of one great playoff run that Pascal Siakam playing the third option with Kawhi Leonard and Kyle Lowry. So it's just kind of like it's a lot of recency bias, but we got to be consistent. There's no consistency.
And this is the thing too, why it's so crazy. Like Paul George has had to adjust his game, and he's still risen to the occasion.
Yeah,
right.
Nasty injury.
You playing that too.
Yeah.
But you playing with arguably one of the best players on the planet. He goes down, and now you're basically being told, "Yo, this is your team now." Now, Paul George has always been good, right? We know what he's been capable of. But at the end of the day, if you go from being a number 2 option to a number 1 option, that's still an adjustment. I don't care how good you are at the game of basketball. There's a game plan
and mental
exactly.
as well.
Exactly. So now, when you look at it from a simple, all right, I need to make sure that I'm efficient. I don't have Kawhi to back me up. Or when I look to my left, when I look to my right, I don't have a guy who can sit here and give me 30 in his sleep. It's me. Now, the rest of the Clippers team, don't get me wrong, shout out to Reggie Jackson, shout out to Marcus Morris, right? Yeah. But the fact of the matter is that's Paul George's team now. We know that. And to be able to say, you know what, Kawhi is down, but that's not an excuse. Kawhi is down, but we're not about to walk into Phoenix and say, you know what, we had a good season. There's a lot of NBA players that would have said, you know what, hey, I'm paid. You know what I'm saying? I'm in my hometown. I done everything I could do. Yeah. Let's just wait till next season. I'm not going to risk an injury. Phoenix is a better team, all this and that. But he didn't. Yeah. He didn't. He said, don't worry about it, L.A. We got this.
They were down 0-2 and gets the number 1 seed, the Utah Jazz. And it's just kind of like they came back and they toughened it out. And Paul George had a big responsibility in that series and a reason why they won that series as well. And you talked about Reggie Jackson, and I want to talk about Reggie Jackson. And we talk about the mental aspect of the game. And this was a guy in Reggie Jackson where Paul George had to convince him to come back. Reggie Jackson talked about how he kind of lost some of the love and the passion for the game. And if it wasn't for Paul George, who they're very tight and close with, he probably wouldn't have came and played this season. And it's just crazy because people look at players like Reggie Jackson, look at players like Blake Griffin, two of these guys that were on the Detroit Pistons, had a lot of success early on when they first got there, but injuries over the course of their careers kind of stifled them a little bit. And then they go to these new teams and these new situations. People are talking about, oh, heard it for Blake Griffin. He can't dunk. He's washed. Reggie Jackson, he's washed. He shouldn't be a starting guard in the league anymore. And sometimes you got to understand that it takes time for players to recover when it comes to injury. That does not always mean that they're going to reach back to their normal self, but sometimes it takes players to recover and they can still be a solid player or a solid starter or a key role player, whatever it is in the NBA. And what we're seeing with Reggie Jackson is special. So, and I also want to throw this out. It's crazy to me because like the same stuff they were talking about Reggie Jackson, they did it to Carmelo Anthony. They did it to Derrick Rose as well. And there's some guys that are missing in the NBA. I'm just going to list some names that I feel like can be in the NBA and play a Reggie Jackson role if they get in the right offense. Deion Waiters, Isaiah Thomas, Tyreek Evans, Lance Stevenson. These are guys that can really have a great impact on the right team in the right situation in a playoff situation. So it's just crazy to me that so many times we were counting these guys out, and in reality, there's a lot of guys that's in the NBA that are really, really just talented, and sometimes they get hurt, and it's unfortunate, but that doesn't mean they're a bum or they're washed and all these crazy things.
Yeah, and I'll probably throw Jamal Crawford somewhere on that list too. But it's crazy, like how unfortunate the media has an impact on that. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I know we can sit here and say, like, oh, NBA GMs don't pay attention to the media. Hey, man, that's garbage. A lot of this stuff I feel like it's because this is still players' careers. This is still their livelihood. We watch it as fans, think, okay, this is a good game. This is still their employment, right? So when we sit here and talk down and all this stuff, it's like you talking down on another man possibly getting a job. So why would I sit here and do that? That don't make no sense to me. We could talk about what's happening on the court, but at some point, we got to sit here and say, like, dag, maybe what I'm saying is having an effect on that man's family, on him getting a job, on him being employed.
Yeah.
Come on now. Let's make sure that we look at the whole picture here.
And you know why? It's the reason why it's like that, because the media plays a key role for the success of the NBA, marketing the brand and stuff like that. So, the narratives, the drama, all that stuff is important for the media. So that's why they do those things as well. But also it's because a lot of times people just don't love the game of basketball. They love the drama. They love the storylines. They don't love the game of basketball. That's why we hear and we have heard this entire playoffs, oh, it's no LeBron, no Stephen Curry, no Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's out. James Harden got hurt. We don't know who's going to win the finals. We don't know the best two teams are not going to be in the finals. But it's just like the same people that are talking about that are the same people that are crying about the lack of parity in the NBA. So I want to ask you, like, how do you feel about this playoffs of not having some of the key stars in the playoffs and stuff like that? To me, personally, I feel like it's been a fun and exciting playoffs to watch.
I mean, I would say it's definitely new to me in terms of, like, we just used to seeing LeBron or Steph, always in the finals. But I enjoy it because at the end of the day, man, I enjoy good basketball.
Right.
Exactly. Like I definitely watching certain players, but at the end of the day, if it's good hoops, it's good hoops, right? I don't care kind of the teams, the location, and all that.
The ratings.
Exactly, yeah. I don't give a damn about no ratings. That don't affect me, right? I don't care about who's number one in jersey sales. Who cares?
Yeah.
I want to watch good quality basketball. And if that's what's being shown on my television, I'm cool with it. Now, I get it. Some people have forced narratives. I get it. Some people feel like, all right, in order for, the league to make money, we got to have certain players. I do not give a damn about any of that stuff. Okay? Yeah. Now, if LeBron and Steph and KD weren't playing and we were watching some mid, right? If we were watching some terrible playoffs, oh, come on now. Then we could have that dialogue.
That's something totally different. I just feel like people cry and whine about, oh, LeBron James going to be in the finals again. This person going to be in the finals again. And then for the first time, we got really 4 teams where we don't know who's going to win the NBA finals. And people are crying. Like, why are we doing this? Like, we know for years. I knew every year Golden State Warriors were going to win the championship. Except the year, Kevin Durant got hurt. And then why the Toronto Raptors and then Golden State Warriors was so fun and so exciting because when Kevin Durant didn't play, unfortunately, it was a toss-up. I didn't know if Golden State was going to win. We didn't know if Toronto was going to win. So it's just kind of like this is another year where we're seeing, like, We don't know if Milwaukee's gonna win, the Suns gonna win, the Clippers gonna win. We just don't know. The Hawks. We don't
You know what it
know.
is though. Know what I think it is too. People are having trouble finding someone to hate. You feel me? Like,
Yeah.
because most people are like, all right, yeah, I'm going to root against LeBron. I don't want him to win, so let's root against him.
Mhm.
Same thing with Steph. I don't like Steph, so let's root against Steph. When he gets to
Kevin
the finals,
Durant.
I don't care. Kevin damn Durant. I don't
Yeah.
like Kevin Durant, so it don't matter who he play. I'm going to root against Kevin Durant. Now, it ain't no villains. Come on now. Who hates Giannis?
Who
like,
hates Kawhi? Who hates Kawhi? Nobody.
Like, come on. Other
Yeah,
than the
that's it.
city of New York, who hates
Yeah.
Trae Young?
Yeah.
There's no one out there now to really hate. There ain't none of these players have done something to your team that's like, you know what? I don't really vibe with him like that. And that's rubbing people the wrong way. So many people are used to having that NBA players that not idolize, but it's like, you know what? He's good. So I'm gonna hate on him.
Yep.
He has basketball talent. So you know what? Let's root against that young man.
People hate greatness. It's just like
People hate greatness.
It's like in hip hop, like people hate Drake because Drake been on a run like LeBron for years, or they hate Kendrick Lamar because Kendrick Lamar is the best lyricist in the game. So it's just that's 100%. That's 100% facts.
Can we
it's crazy
normalize appreciating greatness? Why?
Yeah.
Why do we hate greatness? Why? Is it jealousy? Like, is it? And it's nothing too. It would be one thing if people disliked a certain player because they beat their team a good amount of times, right? Like, if I was a Toronto Raptors fan, I'd probably, have certain feelings towards,
LeBron,
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, man, he done beat us a good amount of times, so I get that.
Right.
But if you I don't know, if you in Charlotte, why do you hate LeBron James?
Yeah.
What reason do you have?
It's just people. Heroes and villain stories, they got to find in the NBA. It's just that once again, people just don't really love basketball. They love the drama. They love to find a hero. They love find a villain. They love the storylines. But I appreciate people that really just love the game of basketball for what it is.
People love theater, and it's annoying. Because it's almost as if we mentioned the idea of taking it for granted, but it's like, where else are you about to see this kind of basketball? Where else are you going to see this type of pure talent being displayed on this type of, stage? So unless you about to go to a park and, that I don't know about, that's out here just dropping, all these all-star and superstar talent, please let me know.
I mean, it's parks.
No, trust me. I know good runs when I see him. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. I know what
but
you're
you
saying.
let me know how many basketball courts he's about to have Giannis Antetokounmpo and Trae Young on the same court. You let me know of a basketball court that's going to have Paul George, DeAndre Ayton, Marcus Morris, Chris Paul, Devin Booker all on the same basketball court. So let's stop taking this stuff for granted.
It's just the casual people. A lot of people are just casual fans. If it's no noise and pandemonium and all that great, I hate this player. That's what fans are about. So you got to appreciate for what it is. But the true purists of the game that really love the game, they love what they're watching right now in the playoffs.
And that's a fact. That's the real ones appreciate what's happening, in these playoffs and in basketball and everything like that. But I want to say though, let's get Mark on the show because I think right now we had a good space. We gonna run with some of these takes because it's. I think we both at a point now where we realizing just people are losing, respect for the game, and we're gonna put an end to that. So let's get Mark on here.
It's your boy Mike K. Smith, also known as A-Kiss. Make sure you guys go follow No Pump Fakes wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, we're here with Mark Gunnels, host of the Mark My Words podcast. What's going on, man? Good to talk to you.
Hey, man, thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure.
No doubt. So we gonna get into some conversation. All right. So the first question that I have for you is that you sent out a tweet, I think recently, and it was like free Dame, free Brad, free Zach, free De'Aaron. So my question for you is, of those four players, right, who do you want to see on a different team the most?
I'm going to have to say Dame just based on longevity. He's been in Portland the longest. He's been very, very loyal to them. I mean, he's been super against like teaming up with super teams and things like that and saying, I'm not going to cheat the grind, things like that. So I believe he's entered, I think, year 9 next year. I believe that he's paid his dues at this point. He's gave Portland all he has. If he demands a trade this summer, I don't think even Portland fans would be that mad at him. I mean, yeah, of course, you don't want to see Dame leave, but I think they will understand. Because, I mean, like I said, he's been there since day one. He's had him relevant ever since he's been there, but there's just no more ceiling there, I believe. Like, they capped out. CJ McCollum is number 2 guy. He's just not going to get the job done as far as winning the championship goes. So I think I want to see him gone the most. I think he deserves it.
What teams, Mark, would you feel would be best suited for a player like Dame?
So obviously a team that feels they're a Dame away. Like, obviously you don't want him to go to a team like, no offense, the Knicks, which I think would be great for NBA, but they're still not just a Dame away from winning the championship. But I think a team like the Miami Heat intrigues me. The Sixers, maybe you unload Ben Simmons and a couple pieces along with that. I think those are teams that are that one piece away from being a legitimate title contender. And also, I'm gonna throw this out there as well. I don't think they really have the assets, but Dallas, they could somehow pull that off. I think that would be amazing too.
Dallas is a tough one, but it's crazy because Ahmad was saying the same thing, not just the free Dame, but possibly Miami and Philly on previous episodes.
Yeah.
But do you think those two teams have what it takes to acquire Dame in terms of overall trade package?
I do, actually. I think Miami, you'll probably have to unload Bam and Hero as starters. Might be a little tough to get rid of Bam, but I mean,
you ain't getting rid of Bam.
I mean,
even if it gets you Dame, though,
you're gonna have to. You're gonna get Damian Lillard.
Nah, they're not getting rid of Bam. I can tell you that right now.
I mean, they're not getting Dame then. So
trust
Philly, obviously, Ben Simmons. Throw in maybe Thibault in there, a couple picks, maybe get a third team involved. I think that could be a possibility because, I know a lot of people are down on Ben Simmons right now, but he's only 24 years old, the 3-time All-Star, 2-time first-team All-Defense. I mean, I know we've been saying this for years, but if he just gets some type of mid-range anything, you're looking at a potential top 10 player in the league. I mean, he does everything else well except that. So, if you're Portland, that's a great rebuilding piece because you still can stay relevant with Ben Simmons and your current roster around that. And you still got upside there. He's only 24 years old. So I think that could be a possibility.
I think I definitely agree with the Philadelphia take. Everybody was talking about CJ McCollum going to play with, Joel Embiid, and they're doing like a swap with Ben Simmons. I was quick to say, pump the brakes. It's probably going to be Dame if anybody gets traded from Portland, if Dame wants out and going to Philadelphia. Like you say, you got Thibault, Maxey, a few first-round draft picks, and then you can create a inside-outside combination with Damian Lillard and Joel Embiid, and we haven't seen an inside-outside combination since like Kobe and Shaq. That's what they can kind of create in Philly. And then you probably keep Tobias Harris. But another team that you mentioned, the Dallas Mavericks, and I like that because of their new GM, Nico. We know what he's about. This guy, connections. That was Kobe Bryant's guy. He Manu Ginobili, and he has a great relationship with Dame as well. So that's an interesting team to look out for.
And also, Dame was advocating for Jason Kidd. So
exactly. So
hold on. So the Dallas situation, are we saying they would have both Dame and Luke on the same team?
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. Yeah.
Woo.
That'd be crazy.
Woo. So I asked about the trade package for Miami and Philly. Yeah. Okay, and I hear names like obviously Bam and Ben, but Dallas, what's that looking like?
See, it's rough.
I'll tell you right now,
Porzingis killed his trade value these playoffs, so he's obviously has to be a starter in any trade. But I mean, I'm not sure when his contract is up, so I don't think it's an expiring contract yet. So that value is really, really tough right now, to be honest with you. So they'll probably get a third team involved, to be honest with you. Then maybe do a sign and trade with Tim Hardaway. I know he's a free agent, but you can do a sign and trade there. So I don't know. It's tough for Dallas though. It's tough. It's tough.
It's crazy. And you two both didn't mention another team that probably could offer the best trade package.
Oh, wait. Hold on. You already know what team I feel Damian Lillard should be heading to.
That's not realistic. We're not gonna talk about We're not talking about the Lakers. That's not realistic. The team I was gonna talk about was the Denver Nuggets. I think the Denver Nuggets can offer probably the best trade package for Dame. Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, 3 first-round picks, or Jamal Murray and Michael Porter and 2 or 3 first-round picks. You get an all-star caliber guard to return to go to Portland in Jamal Murray. You get, if they want Michael Porter, they should want Michael Porter. You get Michael Porter Jr., who has all-star potential written all over him. And then you get a couple first-round picks. And then if you're Denver, you got the Joker and you got Dame on the same team. Like, it'll be something serious, in my opinion.
I like that. I didn't even think about Denver. That's actually very, very good. I like that. I like that a lot.
I thought about that, but the timing is a little off. Only because if the best player, right, from Denver's side is coming off an injury, if I'm Portland, how much am I sitting here saying, you know what, I don't know about that? Because even though Dame might want out, I know, sooner or later they ain't gonna have a choice, right? But right now, I mean, Jamal's coming off a rough injury, and not to say it's not possible, but that's just something to think about,
Yeah.
But I mean, if they can find a way, I'm all for the free Dame. Don't get me wrong. I want him in a better situation, but it's just a matter of where now. It's a matter of location, because it's not looking pretty.
Now, Mark,
it's not looking pretty.
Now, Mark, you tweeted De'Aaron Fox, Zach LaVine, Bradley Beal. These are all the guys that you think should be in better situations. And I'm here to ask you, why do you feel that way? Because sometimes it's kind of like, these are young superstar talents, and it's kind of they're building a roster around these guys, and they just haven't had the opportunity to get it done? Or do you just feel like the situations that they're in with Sacramento, with the Bulls, is such a bad team situation that they just need to escape?
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're looking at De'Aaron Fox. I mean, he got drafted to the Sacramento Kings. So, I mean, the Kings, in my opinion, may be the worst ran franchise in all of sports. So when you're looking at the time frame and that, I'm not really putting that much consideration, because the Kings have gave me no reason to believe that they're going to get it right. So I don't want him to waste too many years there. And then we're looking up, he's almost 30 years old. You know what I'm saying? So get out of Sacramento as soon as you can. I'm sorry, Kings fans. But
go ahead.
No, but yeah, Bradley Beal, kind of the same situation. I mean, we feel like he's been here a long time, almost 10 years. It feels like, but I know it hasn't been that long, but it feels like Bradley Beal's been in Washington forever. I know they tried to get Russell Westbrook. It was okay, but we know it's not really going to merit anything long-term wise. I think Beal could be a great contributor on teams that are ready to win right now. And then the one I got the most flack for is the Zach LaVine one, which may have been a little bit of a stretch, because considering they do have a new front office now and they did get Vucevic. So they have shown some signs that they're trying to improve. And I know they would have made the plan probably this year if it wasn't for COVID, because Zach LaVine missed a lot of time. But at the same time, I just don't really trust the situation fully yet in Chicago. But like I said, maybe I'm not giving them a fair chance, because I do have a new regime there. But I think next year will be a telling year for them. If they don't make the playoffs next year in the East, then I think we've got to go full-fledged on the free Zach LaVine train.
Yeah, Zach LaVine may be gone because he's a free agent. He's not signing that contract essentially anyway.
Exactly.
So it's gonna be a lot of like teams probably calling for him this season. Like, yo, what's up, Zach? Are you gonna sign this extension? Because if you're a team like the Chicago Bulls, you don't want to let Zach go just walk away for free.
No.
It's gonna be a challenging situation.
Yeah,
as well.
I think the Lakers may make a push for him too.
Thank you. I mean, you're out in LA. I was waiting for you to start the Lakers agenda. Usually it's me on this podcast, but it's good to have someone else say it. But yes, I agree. But the one thing I will say though, and on a serious note, is with those other organizations, at least they're like trying to make positive steps in the right direction, right? Like with the Bulls, right? Getting Vucevic was big. That's a step in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? With the Wizards, getting Russ, even though they had to get rid of John, that's still a step. I hate to say this, when you talk about the Kings, even though they've made certain draft picks, you know what I'm saying, for the most part, there hasn't really been to my knowledge, off the top of my head, there hasn't been a wild trade or a crazy free agent signing that's happened with that franchise. So not to say that time is over in Sacramento, but when we think about moves that have actually happened, right? Fans or whatever tend to complain oh my goodness, we still stink. But if the front office is making moves, right, then at the end of the day, this is still a league with 30 teams, and not everyone could be a champion, but you got to live with the decisions that your organization is making. So I just want to acknowledge what the Bulls and the Wizards were doing. That's all.
That's fair.
Because but so when the other LA team, right? I won't just talk about the Lakers, but the Clippers. Talk to me about what you've seen and just noticed from that team and that franchise as a whole, right? Not just Kawhi and Paul George, but overall kind of what they've done in the playoffs to get to this point.
Oh, well, I mean, you got to start from the top. Steve Ballmer has really brought a different personality, I would say, to the franchise. Just being in LA, obviously it's a Lakers town. You don't really see Clippers gear out here much, but the culture is changing. You can feel it. They believe in themselves, man. They really do. This run especially without Kawhi, has been really incredible. Because I will be the first to admit, when I knew that he was going to be out this series, I said Suns in 5. I thought it was going to be a pretty easy series, but at this point, even though the Suns are up, I think the Clippers have outplayed them. I mean, if you take away that DeAndre Ayton game winner and the Paul George missed free throw, Clippers up 3-2 right now. I mean, and they could very well have won the series. I mean, what was that? The last game in LA when they lost was 78-74, ugly game. They couldn't buy a shot. I mean, so you could make a case that the Clippers could have already won this series. And that's without their best player. And I think that's a testament to Tyronn Lue as well. I think we have to give him his flowers, man. A lot of people, always use that narrative. Well, he had LeBron James, he had Kyrie, he's not really a coach. LeBron's really the coach of the team. Well, I think now he's showing that he actually is a very, very good coach. I mean, nobody saw this coming besides diehard Clippers fans, that they would be in a position to win this series without Kawhi Leonard and go to the finals. I mean, it's been a credible coaching job by Tyronn Lue.
Yeah, Mark, just the Clippers making it to the Western Conference Finals is an excellent accomplishment in itself. And we know that franchise has never made it before until this year. And then Paul George doing it without Kawhi Leonard as well. And you talked about Tyronn Lue. I feel like Tyronn Lue is probably a legitimate argument can be made that he's probably a top 3 coach in the NBA right now. And we just saw recently Jason Kidd, and we saw Jason Kidd. Who else got just
Chauncey?
We just saw Jason Kidd and Chauncey Billups both get 2 head coaching jobs in the NBA. So I want to ask you.
Penny might get one in Orlando too.
Yep, I'm just
Penny Orlando. So I want to ask you: are we seeing a new movement in the NBA? Do you feel when it comes to former players becoming head coaches in the NBA?
Yeah. I mean, well, it's been going on for a while, but I think now it's getting to the point now where you're starting to see guys actually be successful. Because we've seen a lot of former players become head coaches, but they flamed out and it didn't last long. But
I'm also talking about black former players becoming head coaches.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. I think that's definitely a trend you're starting to see now. I think, and it makes sense because most of the NBA is African American, so they can relate to them. Obviously, a former player, so you can relate on that level as well. So I think it's the comfortability with it. And, with Penny Hardaway, if he goes to Orlando, I mean, that's just great on all different fronts, obviously. Used to play there. One of the best players in the franchise history, obviously. Not the same with Jason Kidd, but Jason Kidd did play in Dallas as well, won a championship there. So I think those factors as well play into it. But I definitely like the trend that we're seeing now. I think Chauncey definitely deserved his chance as well in Portland. So I like the trend that we're seeing now. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, it's going to continue to happen this way. And it's cool, too, to kind of see, current players, be voices and advocates for, coaches getting their shine. And I mean, obviously, we talked about Ty Lue. I think, one thing that he's done well this year isn't just the adjustments, but having his team stay ready in certain environments. Like Clippers easily could have folded, when they found out Kawhi wasn't playing, like easily, especially with the healthy Suns team. And even with that being said, though, a question that I wanted to ask you, about this Clippers team is, do you feel that Paul George could be the best player on a championship team?
I'm gonna say no, only because I don't feel like he's consistent enough. He'll have games like last night, obviously, where he looks like a top 10, top 5 player in the world, but then he'll also have another game where, he's 7 of 23 from the field, 5-6 turnovers, and just kind of looks disengaged. I think because last night, okay, like he was the best player on the court last night, but at the same time, he didn't really turn it on to the third quarter. But I feel like it was easier for him to be more aggressive in the third quarter because he knew that he had guys that were along with him. Like Marcus Morris had 15 in the first quarter. Obviously, Reggie Jackson got hot as well. So I think having that around him kind of empowered him to be like, okay, I know I got guys that are going to have my back if I don't have my shot going here, right? So I don't think he could be the best player on a championship team, but definitely a number 2. Like he's probably one of the best number 2s in the league, if not the best. So definitely that.
Yeah, I think he's proved he can be the best player on a championship caliber team. He's doing that with the Clippers right now. Kawhi's out. They beat the Utah Jazz that were number 1 seed. Now they're playing the Phoenix Suns. They made it to the Western Conference Finals with Paul George kind of leading the way. Also, what he did with the Indiana Pacers. We know what happened with them going against the Miami Heat. If it wasn't for LeBron, that team probably goes to the NBA Finals. So I think he could be a number 1 option for sure. But to get to our last question before we get you out of here, Mark, we talked about coaches in the NBA. Give us 3 current players that you feel will make great head coaches someday in the NBA.
That's a good question. I'm gonna say Rondo, Chris Paul, and this last one's tough. Rondo, Chris Paul, and give me. You know what? I'm gonna say, man, yeah, that got me with this one. This is a good question. This is a real good one. Hold on, I got it. It's coming to me. You know what? This is kind of off the wall, but I think I love his IQ. I know he's young, but Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
I was nervous, though, because I thought you were going to have the exact same 3 as mine. Mine was probably going to be Rondo, Chris Paul, and Bron.
See, I was going to say Bron, but
Bron going to be an owner.
He's too big of a superstar to be a good coach because, like, most of the great former player coaches are like, they were role players, they weren't like superstars. The only one I could think of is Larry Bird. That was a coach. That was decent.
Yeah.
Isaiah Thomas was awful.
Yeah, LeBron gonna be an owner, so that he don't have enough patience. He's always talked about that, but his IQ, of course, you would think LeBron James being a head coach.
But he's too great to where he would expect people to do what he did. That's
exactly. Exactly.
Oh, so I just Googled like point guards in the NBA because naturally, if there's a basketball position that would
for a general
best fitting for a coach. And I don't know why, but the first 2 names that kind of popped up when I saw the entire list would be Russ and Kyrie. I could see Kyrie being a coach. Like I could see Kyrie leading a practice, and it'd be like the most calm practice in the universe. Like it would just be very like mellow / like, it's okay, guys, if you make a mistake. Next man up mentality kind of thing. Very, 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 very chill. And then Russ be like, yo, get your shit together. You feel me?
Yeah.
I have another name. I just thought about.
Who?
Mike Conley.
There you go.
Oh,
that's a guy.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the guy I was thinking about as well.
Okay, yeah. I like that.
Yeah, that was gonna be my
Yeah.
list. Mike Conley, Ray John Rondo. Yeah, that's tough. And Chris Paul, of course.
Y'all got any big men that you think might be good coaches?
Jokic.
Mm.
Jokic. He's the best passing big man I think of all time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
High IQ.
For sure. There's no debate in that part. I like that. Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's what I can say. To be honest.
Yeah, definitely a floor general. Well, we just want to say thank you, Mark. For pulling up and chopping it up with us, man, on this episode of No Pump Fakes, bro. It was definitely appreciated, man.
Oh yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for reaching out, bro. It was a pleasure.
I already know, man. Hopefully we can chop it up again at some point, man. All right, so obviously I've been watching these games lately and whatnot, noticing certain things, and one thing that's been pissing me off constantly is zone defense. That bothers me with a passion. Like, I need us to return to strictly man-to-man defense. Stop playing zone defense. So, my cap or no cap question for you is, should zone defense be banned from the National Basketball Association?
Cap, major cap. What are we talking about?
Oh my
major
God.
cap. No,
You're one of those.
No. I played my college basketball team. We played zone defense. We didn't even touch man. We played zone defense all the time. And I'm gonna tell you why it shouldn't be banned in the NBA. It's a strategy. Like the Miami Heat, when they went to the finals, they were one of the best defensive teams in the NBA because of their matchup zone and switching from, matchup zone and then man sometimes as well, and also press. So it makes if you're an offensive team, you hate it, of course, but it makes your defense have different looks for different situations and different guys and stuff like that. So that's why that's major cap. Major cap.
That's so corny. You know what that's like? That's like playing computer defense on 2K. Where do we draw the line? That's so corny. If I bring the ball up and I see his own defense, like, yo, why am I here? I thought we came here to play basketball. Come on. You know what that's also like? It's like my man Book said. Yo, we double teaming and pick up. Who does that? I thought we trying to work on our game. I didn't come here to play no zone defense. Come on, bro. You don't believe in zone defense like that. Please tell me.
No,
Come on, man.
I do, but but it's crazy because it's a lot of NBA teams that don't know how to have an offense against a zone, and that's a problem. So that's why it forces teams to work on, let's have a zone offense. And we saw when the Miami Heat ran a zone against the Lakers in the finals. LeBron cooked that zone. He got into the middle. He was passing to AD. Anthony Davis got into the middle, making cuts, backdoor cuts, shooting at the high post. So you got to know how to beat a zone. A zone is very beatable. But if you don't know how to beat a zone, I can't get mad at defensive teams putting out a zone. Figure out a way how to beat it. You're an NBA team. You're NBA players. If you can't beat a zone, that's a problem. That's a coaching problem, and that's also a personnel problem if you don't have guys on your team that knows how to operate a zone offense. So it is what it is, and keep the zone. So I'm big cap.
Keep
Big
the
cap.
zone. Do you
Big
hear
cap.
yourself? Keep the zone.
Big cap.
Oh my goodness
We ain't
gracious!
gonna agree on this. Big cap.
Listen. Because I get it. Look, the number one objective when you're playing basketball is to win, right? We talk about when you playing pickup. All right, I came here to work on my game, but you want to win. I get it. So if you feel like you got to play zone to win, all right, man, you got it. But come on, do what you got to do.
Do what you
But
gotta
who
do.
respects that?
Do
Who
what you gotta
respects
do.
that? Especially my thing is too. If you getting cooked in a man, right, in a man-to-man defense, and now you got to result into a zone, how does that make you feel as a basketball player? Saying, you know what? My opponent is that good, so we got to go zone.
But it's the same thing as doubling. You can say that about, oh, you got to double me now. Playing man-to-man, I'm so good. Now you got to you send the blitz on me every time. James Harden and Trae Young, for the past 2 seasons, They was getting 90 feet the entire court, and then as soon as they come in past the half court line, they were getting blitzed and double. Is that such like a great philosophy? Is that fun to watch if you're a fan? Do you like to see that? Do you like to see your best and favorite player getting doubled the entire game? No. So it's the same thing with zone. Do you like to see it? No. But at the end of the day, you got to do what you're gonna do. Your team got to do what it's gonna do to get that W. So it is what it is, Theus.
You know, I'm glad you said team, because here's the biggest difference between both of those. One is an individual. If you're getting cooked, right, guy keeps putting you on an island, I understand the idea of asking for a double. Hey, because now you put your teammates in jeopardy. You feel me? But when you play in zone, that's 5 gentlemen collectively agreeing, saying, you know what, this team is better than us when we play man. That's garbage. And I don't need an analytics. I don't need to for someone to show me like, you know, hey, we're better when we play. I don't give a shit. Stop playing zone. Play man to man and get the job done. Whatever happened to just simply guarding?
I mean,
whatever happened to just lock it up?
It's only about 3-4 teams in the NBA that really play zone that heavy. You got the Raptors. You got the Raptors. You got Miami. You got the Nuggets at times because they just can't play defense. So it's just like it's not a lot of teams that really play zone. But then you can say the same thing about a box and one. We saw the Toronto Raptors win a championship because they boxed and won Stephen Curry.
Hang on now. But again, even that results to an individual. So I mean, yes, that's still zone, but I'll live with a box and one. If a guy's just going off like crazy, I'll accept that. That's the breaking point between the two of us. But 2-3, 3-2.
You can say the same thing.
1-2-2. Come on.
You can say the same thing about a full court press. Like that's a form. It's not a zone. It's more man based, but it's still like areas on the court where you try to trap that can still be considered a zone in a way. So I mean, at the end of the day, man, defense is defense. I'm all for it. If it's zone, man to man, 1-2, 2-1, 3-2, 2-3, whatever it is, boxing one, whatever's gonna get this. Look, whatever's gonna get this,
get the dub. Whatever get the dub.
At the end of the day,
dub. Listen,
it don't matter, and that's how coaches feel. It don't matter.
Listen, if I pull up to my son's AAU game, and that's
something different. That's development. That's developmental years.
Okay, right.
Completely different. We're not gonna talk about, of course, like, you know, this AAU games playing zone. No, that's developmental years. We're talking about the highest level of professional basketball. We talking about championships on the line. We talking about, you know, guys if they go to the Western Conference Finals or Eastern Conference Finals, they getting an extra $1 million, $2 million checks. We talking about all these things. That's a different level.
Okay, I got you. You're right. Let's avoid the AAU conversation. Let's talk NBA. If I pull up to an NBA game, right, and there's a tip off, right, and right off the first play of the game,
they don't beat like that though.
I'm saying though, and I see a team going to a 2-3 zone, or I hear an assistant coach yell, yo, go zone. You don't think I'm going to be pissed off? You don't think I'm going to be frustrated seeing that garbage?
Yeah. It's the same thing as a hacker shack. It's the same thing
as a fan, as a player, as an opposing coach. Come on.
It's the same thing.
Men.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing as a hacker shack. It's the same thing as, and they play, and it's the same thing. It's like the hacker shack, all those things.
But again, that goes to my previous point. That is addressing an individual. When you're attacking an individual's weaknesses, then it's like, okay, I can kind of live with that. But on the zone front, that's the team.
It is what it is. It is what it is. Get the dub. Get the dub.
That's so garbage. That is so garbage. I can't even imagine what would go on. Like, I can't imagine what would have to happen for me to say, you know what, I'm throwing in the towel. Let's run a 2-3. But you know what? I asked that. This is going to be our little 8-minute segment. This is going to be the short clip of the video. Should zone defense be banned? The answer is yes.
You're capping. Cap artist Theus. We out. See y'all next week.
Next episode. We're going to see y'all. Peace. What's up, y'all? It's Theus McBee. Make sure you go follow No Pump Fakes on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you listen to your podcasts.